I suppose everybody has pet peeves, and this is one of mine. And this is not a subject I take lightly, and I don't want you to think I'm taking it lightly. I'm going to talk about the topic of abuse and how so many people are overusing the abuse term. Now, I am not discounting the fact that real abuse takes place. Real people are getting hit and hurt and physically assaulted by other people, specifically their romantic partners and their spouses. No one better comment saying Christine Bacon doesn't think it's real. If it's real in your life, then you know it. Get out, get help. But this video is not about that. This video is about the classification of abuse where really abuse doesn't exist. Now, I'm going to say that for one who tried to end her own marriage, I too told my husband at one point, "You're abusive." It's a word that we know will rile people up. And we do believe our spouses or our boyfriends or girlfriends are being abusive. But I am seeing way too many, too many in the past several years since I've been doing this, where people accuse their spouse of abuse and they put that in the divorce or whatever, because that automatically puts their spouse at the defense. But what I'm here to do is to clarify the difference between abuse and just being mean. Abuse, whether it is sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, is always about power and control. Power and control. I have power over you and I am trying to control you. For instance, here's an example. I have been watching the miles on your car, and you drove 42 miles yesterday, and it was only 12 miles to your hairdresser and back. Where were you? I will follow you. Never laid a hand on that person. But it's this controlling thing that I'm controlling the number of miles. I've seen abuse in cases of finances where I will control when you go to the doctor, when you don't. Military member held back his spouse's and children's military IDs so he could control when they went to the doctor, if they went, and he always had to give a say so. That is abuse. That is power and control. But I will see so many, and I'm going to say it, specifically women, and men do their thing too, right? I'm going to talk about theirs in another video, what they do. But it is more women than men that will say, my spouse is abusive. And I'll ask what he or she did. And what I will always hear is not abuse, but just a mean words, mean person. When I used to accuse my husband of abuse, it was he would call me names. We would fight ugly. And in most cases, and that was just mean. Some of the things that he would say were mean. And I'm not discounting myself, by the way. Everyone knows I've done videos that talk all about my sins. But was my husband abusive? No, not at all. Is your spouse abusive? Is your friend's spouse abusive? And I'm going to encourage you, because remember, there are always kids that are being hurt. And we are so quick to say, oh, well, then leave him if he's being abusive, that we don't really say, come on, tell me what's happening. Because when you and your spouse are screaming at each other and he or she says something that is just nasty, ugly, it's not abuse if it's not about overpowering you, meaning I'm going to make you do what I want to make you do, controlling you. If it's just, well, you're a this and you're a that and you're a blah, and I hate you, that's not abuse. This is so important because when you get too much of one thing, if every single person claims abuse, it gets watered down. And that's why I will always make sure to have people explain, well, tell me about it. And I do not discount it when they're telling me, because every now and then there is one who is actually in a state of abuse. And my comments are always the same: get out of that place and get safe. get safe. You're never supposed to put yourself in a place of abuse. Another time people say, is he left marks on me? He pushed me. And so I'm like, whoa, okay, let me hear that situation. And oftentimes when I've gotten the sides from both parties, he or she, and I'm gonna use the gender, not just a stereotype, but the mathematical majority. A woman will be getting in his face, he'll be getting in her face, but she'll push him first or do something, or he has to grab her wrist. It's always the same. Well, he grabbed my wrist, he grabbed my arms, and he shoved me into the wall, or he shoved me into the bed, or he shoved me. But when both people are together and I hear the story, it was really more of I didn't hit you. I was not going to hit you, but you were on me, hitting me, pushing me, and I was just getting you off of me. Again, if this is riling you up, I didn't talk to you. I don't know your specifics. But if it is making you feel a little bit guilty, you might want to rethink this. My God, I'm not here to try to make you feel guilty. I'm just here to save marriages. And when people see me, I don't just listen only to one side. I want to hear his side. I want to hear her side. And any good counselor or relationship coach should do the same. And it will default. If I'm not there, no matter what I say, I will explain what abuse is. When you go home, you still have to make that choice because I'm not there. If it's not happening in front of me, I'm not there. I can't tell you if it's abuse or not. And that's why I'm doing this video. Guys, we have got to start taking responsibility for our own words, our own situations. I just worked with yet another man who's being accused of it. And as I'm hearing from it, and I met with the wife too, their stories matched. And I had to say to both of them, well, that's abuse. That was just ugly. The story is the same, whether, well, I may as well make it 2 in 1 video. The other favorite line, narcissism. It's losing its power because every single person that wants to leave their spouse seems to say he or she is a narcissist. Well, narcissism, you guys, is an extreme focus on the self. All about me. Every decision I do is only for me, and I don't care, and I will walk all over you. I will destroy you if I have to, just to make me look good. I'll even be nice to you to make me get what I want. So narcissism does exist, but I just have such a hard time with names. Because narcissism, if as Christians, extreme selfishness is over here, extreme selflessness is over here. I care only about the self as a narcissist. I care only about the other is Jesus. None of us is perfect, so we're all going to be somewhere on the scale. Perhaps I wouldn't have lost so much patience with people who claim that their spouse is a narcissist if it wasn't nearly every person that comes to me. Sorry. They're not all narcissists. Are they selfish? Yeah. Are we? Yeah. And you may be a heck of a lot more selfless than your spouse, and that's bad. That's hard. Those are the marriages that I'm really working with is how do I get a couple to focus on the other and not on the self? Name calling, these medical diagnoses, they're not helpful. They hurt you because they make you look less credible. I'm sorry. Everybody that's going to talk to you has probably heard it. It makes the other person look bad to their children. It makes people look as if they're trying to escape blame. What's better is if we just say, here are the things that are happening and don't put labels on them. I want to help you. And I want to help your spouse. And there are some jerky spouses out there. So I'm not here to say that yours hasn't just been nasty and ugly and hard to live with. I was in one of those marriages. But we got past it with a whole lot of counseling and help, and 100% by the grace of God. One last thing, the reason I try to not use the names, the labels abuser or narcissist or what other labels come, is because it also, and here's probably the more important part, it also presumes this inability to change, as if that's a trait. You're a narcissist. I gotta get out. Two should be married to a narcissist. They'll never be different. Wrong. They can learn to be selfless, just like you had to learn each and every day to be more and more focused on others than the self. We've got to speak in ways that say, I do not like your actions. I do not like them. They make me not love you because you hurt me. And I don't need to take that kind of hurt anymore. That I can get behind. You do not need to take behavior that hurts, especially behavior that hurts you intentionally. But we can work with people who are deceitful. And don't say, well, they're a liar. They're just born that way. Well, they've been deceitful. Yeah. We need to help them to learn to tell the truth. Yeah, that person's got some extremely off the chart selfish things that they're doing. But let's see if we can get them to meet. Heck, sometimes just the pure act of meeting is showing not complete narcissism because you're trying to fix your marriage. Who knows? I know that this one is totally going to blow up because it's controversial. But you once loved that person and they once loved you, and you can love them again. But if we put them into a basket and say that you are something and it's not your actions, then there comes with it this belief that they can never change back. Well, guess what? You changed. You changed from loving them to not loving them. So if your feelings changed from good feelings to bad feelings, they can change back. Just like their feelings for you changed. That's why this whole society is all messed up right now, because we're talking only about my life is defined by my feelings. My feelings will tell me what I identify as. No, feelings do not define reality. Feelings define our hurt. And we get hurt easily. I'm pretty sensitive, used to be. I'm getting better. Let me help you. Let me help you at least define what's going on. Explain to me. I'm not going to automatically say, no, he or she's not an abuser, he or she's not a narcissist. But I will make you do some critical thinking and some soul searching. Because if we can't get to the root of the problem, we can't solve it. You take ownership, let's get them to take ownership. And even if they don't, let's get you, because God can work with you. If you change one half of a couple, it will absolutely change the other half. Because if you've always done ABC, which causes them to do DEF, and now you no longer do ABC, but you're doing JKL, they can't do DEF anymore. And they have to figure out what new to do. So yeah, you've got a lot more power than you think. And I'd like to help you find that power. You know where to find me. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Find me at breakfastwithbacon.com. And despite the heavy topic, I still want you to remember to live your life sunny side up.